So this is a pretty serious topic for my second YouTube video. I was browsing YouTube and I came across Stefani Paige's video about body image and her backstory on body image. Basically, it was just about her experiences growing up, how she felt about her body, her eating habits growing up, and how they all developed into disordered eating, disordered thinking patterns about her body image. And Stephanie, if you're watching this video just inspired me to make my own video because, like, I've been there and all the things that you were talking about, like, I could connect with. You know, I don't know if this is making any sense. I've wanted to make one of these videos for a really long time about, like, body image and eating disorders, but I never really knew how, and when I came across your video, I thought it would be a good chance to make a response and just kind of share my story. When I was growing up, I didn't really have that many concerns about my body image. I would say that I, like, fit the norm, so I never really had that many concerns when I was younger about my body image. I remember being in health class in probably like grade 5 or 6, and my health teacher was teaching us about the media and how we shouldn't let the media's idea of beauty affect how we feel about ourselves, because those images that we see in the media aren't real. They're usually photoshopped, and, like, celebrities don't even usually look like that. And I remember thinking, like, I'll never let that affect how I feel about myself. I remember thinking, how could I let an unattainable, fake version of beauty affect how I feel about myself? Like, I remember thinking that'll never happen to me. And boy, oh, was I wrong. I was pretty self-conscious about my body during high school, but, like, I don't really want to talk about high school because I feel like the way I felt about my body was pretty normal for most teenagers. Like, my thinking patterns and eating patterns in high school were not disordered, so that's not really what I want to talk about. I want to talk more about when I entered university, because that's when my idea of my body started to just go downhill. I remember when I was entering university, I was at the highest weight that I had ever been at, and I don't want to disclose the weight that I was at because now that I think about it, it wasn't that bad. Like, the weight that I was at was not that overweight. So I don't want to say what it was and make people think that are that weight now that they're overweight. Do you know what I mean? Like, I realize now that that weight is perfectly fine, and that my thinking patterns back then were just totally disordered, and, like, I was just wrong for even thinking that I was overweight. But, so yeah, when I entered university, I was at the highest weight that I'd ever been at, and I just remember feeling like shit about myself. In my first year of university, I feel like I isolated myself a lot. Like, I didn't really want to go out and, like, party and stuff with all of my friends because I was self-conscious about what I looked like, and since I isolated myself, I didn't really have that many friends, and at the time, I kind of thought that the reason why I didn't have any friends was because people didn't want to hang out with me because of what I looked like, which is just totally stupid. I couldn't even see that people weren't talking to me because I wasn't talking to them. I thought it was because they just didn't like me for who I was. So yeah, in first year university, I started to restrict my diet, and I found that really easy to do because I had a meal plan, so I could just kind of eat whatever I wanted to, and there wasn't somebody always there to kind of be looking over my shoulder and be checking what I was eating. So I would eat 3 small meals a day. I'm not really sure, like, the calorie count. I wouldn't count calories, really, which is kind of weird. But I would eat like kind of like a bagel for breakfast, which is, I don't know. I would eat like a bagel for breakfast, which is probably the most calories that I would have consumed that whole day. At lunch, I would have a bowl of fruit, and then at dinner, I'd have a salad. And that carried on for about 3 months. Those were the only things that I ate in 3 months. And if I ate anything else during the day, I would feel so guilty about myself. I remember once one of my friends that I lived with on my floor gave me a granola bar, and I ate it. I think I ate 2 granola bars actually. I was so hungry, and I felt so bad about myself like immediately after that I threw it up, which is so disturbing to even think that I once did that. But yeah, I just felt so bad about myself during those times. I guess I just felt like when I controlled my eating, like everything, I felt like I had more control, because just being at university for the first time, I felt like I didn't really have control over my marks. So that area of my life felt kind of out of control. I felt like I didn't have control over my feelings, like my depression that I was feeling. And as soon as I started to control my eating, I felt like I could control everything. I just felt really in control. Nobody really noticed, as far as I know of, at school that I was losing a lot of weight, but everybody at home seemed to notice, because when I went home for the summer, a lot of people made comments about the weight that I had lost. I remember my grandpa had made a comment about how it looked like I had lost a lot of weight in my face. My dad would make comments. I remember he asked me once, "Are you sure you're eating enough?" My mom would kind of be like, "Don't you dare get any skinnier, because like you are extremely skinny right now." At family functions, my family friends were once like, "You are like a stick, like you're really skinny now, like what happened to you?" And they would make comments like, "You need to eat more," and they'd put more food on my plate, and I don't know, stuff like that. And all of those comments about my weight, like even though people were telling me that I was skinny, those comments made me feel like shit about myself. I thought that if I lost weight, people would like me more, and then all of a sudden people were making kind of rude comments about my weight. So then whenever I would see somebody for the first time in a long time that summer, I would be self-conscious immediately, because all I could think about was, this person's just thinking about how much weight I've lost, and they feel so awkward around me because I'm so skinny now, and like, I don't know, like that whole period of my life was just effed up. Okay, so now I'm going to read a journal entry that I wrote when I was kind of experimenting with disordered eating habits. And yeah, here it goes. March 6th, 2012. This isn't the first time I've attempted to keep a journal, and let's be honest, it probably won't be the last. I guess what I like the most about journals is that they give me the opportunity to look back on past experiences. Looking back on those events in retrospect helps me to realize that the hard times will eventually pass, and that the things that bring me down will soon be no more than a distant memory. These journals also help to clear my mind. Sometimes I feel like there is so much going on in my head, and writing it all out helps me to organize my thoughts. I guess you could say that lately I've had more bad days than good ones. For about a month and a half, I've felt depressed. I don't mean just a little sad, I mean full out depressed. I can't sleep, and I can't control my eating habits. Lately I've felt totally alone and worthless. I'm not too sure why the depression has faded in the past week and a half. I think one reason may be that I've started to control my eating. I only have 3 small meals a day, and they can't be big meals or else I'll feel guilty. I've also made myself throw up a few times, which I realize makes me sound mentally unstable, but it helps me to feel less guilty. What kind of worries me is that I have felt the urge to make myself throw up after being upset over something that is unrelated to food. I just felt like it would help me to feel better. I don't know. And then the rest of this kind of goes on talking about like actual people who have been in my life, and like I don't want to address that. My eating habits started to become healthier, I guess, because I realized after all of the comments that I was getting that I kind of had a problem, and I didn't want to seek professional help for it because I was afraid that I would like be put in the hospital or something, or some kind of rehabilitation facility. So I kind of tried to handle it on my own. I just slowly started to eat more. In that time, I also met my boyfriend, and I kind of just started, I don't know, that also helped me recover for some reason. I just slowly started to become more accepting of myself because he was so accepting of me, and then I kind of just learned through that how to be more comfortable with my body. And like, I'm still not totally comfortable with my body, kind of like, who is, you know what I mean? Food, it still really affects me. Sometimes I'll have days where if I eat certain things, I'll still feel really guilty about myself. And some days I'll fall back into those thinking patterns. But I never try to act on those feelings. Like, I try to ignore them and just try to, because I don't want to start restricting my diet again, because I know that's just going to lead to problems. So yeah, that was my video about my body image story. Thank you to Stephanie for originally making the video so that I could have a way to express my feelings about my body image. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.